Hey everyone, I'm Dan from JazzComposersPresent.com, an online space where composers, musicians, and listeners come together to celebrate the music we love. I'm joined today by Dave Scott, trumpeter, composer, and adjunct faculty member at the New School of Jazz and Contemporary Music and Western Connecticut State University. Dave is here to talk to us about harmonic phrase lengths.
Many years ago, when I was working on my master's degree at University of Southern California in Los Angeles, I was fortunate to study with the great Vince Mendoza. And I was, at the time, kind of studying the structures of the Wayne Shorter tunes and the Herbie tunes, Herbie Hancock tunes, from the, obviously the Miles in the 60s. ESP influenced me a great deal. All those recordings, Miles Smiles, etc. And so I was trying to write with those kinds of harmonic structures in mind. And so when I was studying with Vince, I would bring in tunes. So I brought in this one particular tune, and the phrasing was very symmetrical. It was all 4-bar phrases. And Vince made a suggestion that I, change up the phrasing, to try different things with the phrasing. Maybe he said, leave a bar or two at the end of the phrase. Let the phrase breathe a little bit. And I thought, okay, that's different. And I remember I said to Vince, what about the improvisers? Won't that make it more difficult to improvise? And he said, well, it'll make them play different, So I thought, okay. So anyway, just that one little concept from Vince changed the way I wrote from then on. So now we're going to take a look at some tunes of mine where I use some of those ideas that Vince gave me about the phrasing. The first tune, though, is actually very symmetrical. It's an early tune that I wrote many years ago. There we go. This is called Naivete, and I recorded this with my quintet probably like 2006 or 7. And anyway, it's in 3/4. It's a swing. And so all of the phrases, except for the second system, are 4-bar phrases. And generally, I write, in this particular instance, I write a 1 chord or mode. And then at the end of the phrase, I have a passing chord into the next phrase. So as you can see, the first system's 4 bars and the second system is the next phrase. That's a 5-bar phrase. So the passing chord, the D major 7 sharp 11, is 2 bars. But then the rest of the tune is all 4-bar phrases. And we go to the second page, and all basically that same format of chord and then a passing chord at the end of the phrase, with the exception of the second to last phrase where I used 4 different chords. Okay, so let's take a listen. This is Naivete. So the next tune is called Vindaloo. This I also recorded with my quintet on SteepleChase, called Song for Amy. And this is kind of an upswing, medium upswing. And if you see the phrasing here, first system, I have the phrases in each system. First system is 6-bar phrase, 2 chords, and then into 1 chord for 4 bars. More kind of a modal concept. Next phrase is a 5-bar phrase. And then the next 2 phrases are 6-bar phrases. The second phrase, the 5-bar phrase, only has one chord leading into the. So this is kind of the opposite of naivete. I have the 2 chords that lead me into the tonal center that I want for each phrase, with the exception of the second phrase where I have one chord that kind of leads me into that tonal center. Last example is a tune that's more recent. It's actually another 3/4 swing tune. It's called Song for Janie, also recorded on SteepleChase a couple of years ago. And the phrasing here is a little more open, a little more into the concept of odd bar phrases, although there are some 4-bar phrases in the tune. So if you look at the first system, and then into the second system, the first phrase is a 5-bar phrase after the D flat. And then it goes to the D7 over A. That's the next phrase. And then the E major over D sharp is the end of that phrase, the passing chord into the next phrase, which is the C major over B. And then that's a 3-bar phrase. The next phrase is actually a 4-bar phrase into the C6 over D flat. And then let's go to the next page. The next phrase is those 2 chords on the previous system and then into the D major 11 over C. Then the next phrase is the A major 7 over G to the C over D flat. It's actually a 6-bar phrase. It goes through the F13 altered. And then the next phrase is a 5-bar phrase, goes through the A minor triad over B flat, and then the last phrase is a 4-bar phrase. So in conclusion, when I write phrases now, when I write harmonic structures, I really don't think that much about the phrasing, other than occasionally I obviously want it to feel natural. I don't want it to sound forced. I think that's the key. You don't want it to sound forced, like you're intentionally making a phrase a certain length or trying to do something different. You want the phrases or I try to make the phrases feel natural and lead into the next phrase and feel like there is a harmonic rhythm to it. So that's what I aim for. And generally anymore, when I write a tune like that, I really don't think about it that much. I kind of let it take care of itself. Occasionally, like I said, I will think about what Vince said, and I'll think, okay, is an extra bar here or there, will that make a difference?
Thanks for watching today's mini lesson. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Drop any questions, comments, or suggestions for future videos in the comment section down below. To watch our full-length events and participate in live Q&As with our presenting artists, head over to jazzcomposerspresent.com. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.